Personally, I just, I can't thank him enough. I tell him that all the time. They get it, a lot of you all get it, but it helps when everybody gets it together. So, Mr. William Bill Cheeks, Abbott Associates. He's the president of Abbott Associates, a Powder Springs, Georgia-based fiscal management consulting firm that provides counseling and conducts seminars nationwide to help consumers map a I'm laughing because I remember how I met you. But anyway, the seminars are conducted for companies, governmental agencies, and nonprofit organizations. Bill is a consultant to the Jumpstart Coalition for Personal Financial Literacy, and in that capacity serves as Eastern States Regional Director, assisting and advising Jumpstart state coalitions in the region. I'll read one more paragraph because his is extensive as well. Like I said, he's somebody to know. Bill was Vice President of Consumer Education for Equifax, one of the larger financial information companies in the world. From 1995 to 2001, he was responsible for implementing a fiscal management and life skills program for high school students. In this role, he had a successful national program and also was a presenter to educators and adults on fiscal management, credit scoring, and identity theft. He appeared on numerous radio and television programs discussing these topics on this program. I'll tell you a funny story before I follow up here. I can be relentless when I'm trying to get to something. And he was doing a credit session for a boot camp for the Urban League. And so, I went up to him and I was talking to him and he, was going to send me information. Well, anyway, we went out for a breakout lunch, right? I get my lunch, you remember? I sat down and the chair hit the floor. And I was on my back like a turtle with my legs and arms up in the air because the chair broke. Him and his wife were sitting right behind me. I was so embarrassed. I didn't know whether to have someone call the ambulance and act like I was really hurt, or just get up and play it off. But that was my introduction. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Bill Cheeks. Please give him a warm welcome.
Venus, I would not have mentioned that if you had not said it. Good morning, everyone. Glad to be here with you. It's great to be back at home. I have been traveling since last week to 3 different conferences, and it helped me to form my remarks for today. And so happy Amy's comments and Nancy's comments because they are with organizations that really get financial literacy. And I'm here. I wish I could have gotten back to D.C. on tomorrow because Ms. Yellen is going to speak at the National Bankers Association, and I actually am involved with the National Bankers Association. That's the minority bankers across the country. And but prior to her, Mr. Bernanke, very, very involved with financial education. And by the way, I think at this time now, the President's Council on Financial Capability is also having their meeting, and I was with 3 of the members from the President's Council on Financial Capability on Tuesday, and they were doing a listening session just to hear about what is happening, what are the concerns of the community. I just want to first thank Venus Lockett for her untiring efforts in Money Smart Week. She calls you up, and I don't know how you can say no to her. She's just so enthusiastic about it, but you don't have to pull me in because I really am passionate about it. A lot of folks ask me, Bill, why are you still doing this? You're retired from Equifax. Yeah, we know you got a pension. You now qualify for Social Security. You had 401k. You had all of these kinds of things. It's not for the money. I don't do this for the money. I want to give you some statistics, and I got that last week. As Venus said, it's not that I just work in Georgia. I live in Georgia. I actually am out of Georgia more than I am in Georgia, it seems like, because with one of my clients, my firm is ABBA Associates, but I have clients, and one of my clients is Jumpstart Coalition for Financial Literacy. Now, the consortium is that they actually got started before Jumpstart did, and so they are the Georgia representative of Jumpstart Coalition for Financial Literacy. But here is the situation with Jumpstart. I work with 32 states, plus Puerto Rico, and they are doing various things, and therefore I get to see Money Smart from a ground level because I was really involved almost from the inception in Chicago with the Federal Reserve Bank there, with Money Smart when they started it. I've done sessions in the Chicago area. I've also done sessions in Michigan. Michigan is a big proponent of the Money Smart Week. But I guess we talk about Illinois, but really one of the states that's really big in their involvement with Money Smart Week is Wisconsin. They really have a lot of activities going on. But again, going back to something Venus talked about, there are some startling numbers that you get to see when you start talking about Georgia or many of the states in the South. And when you want to look at the lower numbers, all you have to do is look at most of the states in the South. For instance, the Vantage Score, they have just come out with their 300 to 850 credit score, similar to FICO. It's that 3.0 version. I don't know if John talked about that at all.
Yes,
he did at the event. But Barrett Burns is the CEO. I know him very well from Vantage Score, and I went through an Experian credit educator program, and they were giving me my credit score, and they said the national average on Vantage is 655. I believe it's like 681 for FICO, but Georgia was 645, lower than the average, and therefore a lot of work needs to be done. Another reason I am very involved and very interested in working in financial literacy is because of the stats I see for African Americans. The stats are really, really tough. I spend a lot of my time in churches. I work this Saturday. I'll be at Turner Chapel AME Church in Marietta conducting a credit seminar there. If any of you want to attend, it's no charge. That's the nice thing about my seminars. There's no charge. Ally Financial actually supports me in conducting financial seminars. That's why I'm able to travel across the country. But African Americans during the financial downturn lost 59% of their net worth. 59% of their net worth. Why? Because it was tied up in housing. We lost homes, lost equity in homes and everything. Now, another reason I do seminars and everything, it is to say a good credit score is very, very important. And as an African American, you can have a great credit score. And what I'm about to share is not to brag, but just to talk about it. Now, I went through the Vantage Score. My Vantage Score is 826 out of an 850. Now, my FICO score, I get that from Discover. If you have a Discover account, they send you on a monthly basis your FICO score. My FICO score is 838 out of an 850. But what I share with people is It's understanding what those numbers mean. It is the managing of it. I did a keynote address in Rock Hill, South Carolina about 2.5 weeks ago. And the title of the speech was 2 words and 3 numbers that will impact your financial future. Now, as I was doing the research for the 2 words, I actually came up with some other words. And Venus, I promise I'm going to get to Money Smart with you.
Oh, no problem. Take your time.
Yeah. The first 2 words I came up with, budget and credit. The first 2 words, and of course you know what the 3 numbers are. But as I was doing the research there, I came up with a couple of other words. When you talk about budget, you're talking about needs versus wants. There are 2 more words. And then when you're talking about credit as well as the budget, there are 2 more words, choices and decisions. These words really create the problem so many people have in America. Those words there create the issue because we want certain things, but really, what do we need? What size house? What type of car? I see certain folks, they will say, and you go in the classroom with kids, what's the thing that they're going to ask you? What kind of car do you drive? And here's what I share with them. Wrong question. It's a lease payment to drive some of these cars, and I said, that's not good financially unless you have your own business. And sort of explain that to them and make the discussion something that is engaging for them. Now, as I said, I was going to share some stats. Nearly 1 in 5 children, 14.7 million, were poor in 2013 and remain the poorest in the country. These are African American kids. Many of them single parent household. Every 2.5 minutes, a black baby is born into poverty. This is why I get up every morning. How can we change that? This is why I support something like Money Smart Week, because and why I talk about and so happy what Nancy is doing. I know her passion there. And also the Federal Reserve, what they are doing. I work closely with Amy and her counterparts in Nashville, Tennessee, in Birmingham, Alabama, in New Orleans, Louisiana, Jacksonville, Florida, as well as Miami, Florida. That's the footprint for the Atlanta Fed. But then I also work with the Kansas City Fed, the St. Louis Fed, the Chicago Fed, and the Philadelphia Fed. So and the New York Fed. I will soon, because I'm going to be in New York next month. So working with all of these Federal Reserve banks and individuals within there, because I know their interest in this. But the next biggest player, and I'm glad Venus talked about them, is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. That is the bureau that is here to protect you, to help you as a consumer. They are really looking out for you, looking out for your finances, and also will change some of the stats that we have. But Money Smart Week and what the consortium is doing, it's about collaboration. We need collaboration. We need all organizations to work together. This is a week, but I want to see us working together for things more than 1 week, because we need more than 1 week of help in the country. and especially as we are dealing with, as I work with National Jumpstart, our focus is pre-K through college. Now, Mr. Cordray talked about it. Every speaker there at the Congressional Black Caucus, the National Black Caucus of State Legislators, the Society for Financial and Professional Development, every speaker talked about we must educate our children early. We cannot wait until high school. It is too late. They have developed those bad habits by that time. But if we can get to them early and help them understand that, you know, when you put that card in the ATM machine and money comes out, you got to have money in there before money is going to come out. They just see the ease of money and everything, and they want this, they want that, and it's hard as a parent to tell the person who is most dearest to you, no. Now, Nancy knows how to do it a little better than most of us. She has two wonderful children, and she has, been very good at managing and disciplining them, and her daughter is doing well, because I've known Maggie since she was young, and now she's a college student. I don't know where the time is. But someone else, the young lady, I forget, over here, talked about students, college debt, student loan debt. You know, it's just unbelievable. Over $1 trillion, I think like between 1.2 and 1.3 trillion dollars. College is a financial decision. And unfortunately, most people are making the incorrect financial decision. That has to be something that we address, not during this week, but also ongoing. We must address that if you cannot afford a Duke, a Yale, a Harvard, and if you can't get scholarships there, you don't fund that through student loans, because that money is very, very difficult to pay back. The president has talked about it. His wife has talked about it. They got those high-priced education, and they were in their late 40s paying them back, and they made great incomes. But unfortunately, so many students now are graduating and can't even afford an apartment. I just heard on the way here, a young lady, $281 a month is what she has to pay back in student loan debt. She said, that's half of what I have to pay for rent. Therefore, I can't even afford to buy a great car. She said, I'm not trying to buy a luxury vehicle. I'm just trying to drive something that is safe. So making the right decision as far as schools. There is nothing wrong with going to a community college. Many students don't even know what they want to do anyway the first couple of years. So, but then they're going to a $40,000 a year school trying to figure out what they want to do. Or one of the guys on Tuesday who was on the panel, who's on the President's Council on Financial Capability, talked about his brother. His brother went to school, got student loans, and he's been out of school now 11 years, didn't graduate, still paying back student loans. Say, because he didn't make good financial choices. Then the other reason he said, I'm involved in the President's Council on Financial Capability. He said, not that I'm in that space. He said, because in conjunction with that, my mom also lost her house. That's the other thing a faith leader talked about when she was on one of the panels. She said, what should be hope and aspiration has now in so many families turned to shame. When you have hope and aspirations when you're purchasing that home, but then when you lose it, it turns to shame, and then you don't even want to engage in that again. We had some real estate folks who were presenting to us, and they said now there are people who won't even get into the market, won't make the decision to make that purchase. Why? They are afraid. They've seen, and block after block, houses boarded up, foreclosed on, and everything. And then it's still millions of people, I think it's like 10 million people, whose homes are still in the water today. Although Mel Watt, who is head of one of the housing agencies there, said last year on average across the country, housing prices increased by 10%, but you still have a lot that are underwater, number of parts of the country, because in this area, I think if you're in Buckhead, they have gone up pretty good. East Cobb County, maybe some parts of Fayette County, but not every part of the community is going up. So that's why all of this information that I'm sharing is why we need to focus on, and we need everybody involved in helping and bringing people to Venus and also to Consortium to talk about Money Smart Week. The numbers I want to share, and Venus, please accept this as not something that's critical. Those numbers were deplorable. Those numbers were awful. With as many people as all of us know that need this information, that need us to help in making decisions and making good financial decisions, because it is the president changed. We used to say financial education, then we went to financial literacy, and his mantra is financial capability. That's what we want. We want consumers to be able to make good financial decisions, and that's what this is all about, is making good financial decisions, having folks from various organizations working together. Now, the library system is a great place, and delighted to see the partnership. Illinois, they are doing a great job. As a matter of fact, the Jumpstart Coalition there, that's their focus now, is the library system, forming partnerships. They are also helping to fund certain things in the library systems with the librarians and everything, because so many people go there. I'm going to close with a few things. Now, you're going to see in the future some additional things about what we are doing in the financial education literacy capability space. One of the things we're going to talk about, are we making a difference? How do we measure what we're doing? I think about, I see economy here from United Way. We had something at the United Way, and the United Way is one of the best organizations I know of that can measure what you're doing. And we talked about not just collaboration, but systems integration. And that is, it's talking about measure. How we can say, okay, we sent this person here, we did this, we did that, but did we make a difference in the person's life? Because what we have got to be about within all of our organizations, how are we helping to change the behavior of that individual? Because that's what your credit score really is all about. Your credit score is, have we changed your behavior? Because if we change your behavior, believe me, your credit score, if you know the fundamentals, your credit score is going to go up. And again, that's what we want to look at, Venus, is how do we help change behavior of individuals? How can we follow and track individuals? And we have study after study talking about this at the different conferences, because this is the piece that you're going to hear more and more in the future. But I want to close and say thank you for what you are doing in the financial space, number one. Number two, thank you for being in attendance here, and I hope the next time we have twice as many. I'm encouraging you to bring additional people, and I'm going to work closely with Venus as we move forward here. I'm sorry I couldn't make the kickoff last year, because I never miss a lunch at the Federal Reserve. They always serve great food at the Federal Reserve Bank. If you think that lunches are good, come for a dinner meeting there. Mr. Lockhart has invited me to some dinner meetings. But Amy, they actually serve better food in Birmingham than they do in Atlanta.
Most of our branches,
It is.
state-of-the-art chefs.
Yeah, they really do over in Birmingham. I mean, they have state-of-the-art chef and everything at the Federal Reserve. But on a serious note, the knowledge you get, if you haven't gone through their museum, please take Amy up on that, taking people to the museum, because the big thing I find with so many people, they don't understand how money works. And that's why we've got to get to young people earlier. I'm in the financial position I'm in today because, I don't know, God just blessed me. I always saved money. I always did. I didn't always make the best financial decisions as to where I placed the money, but again, I guess God blessed me that, placing it where I did, it actually worked. But it had to be the principle of saving money. That's what we've got to really teach young people. And that's because, again, in the workplace, it's changing. Very few, I get a pension. Most young people are not going to get a pension anymore. But they really can do okay if they invest in a 401k, 403b, 457 plan, or even outside of the workplace, they get involved in the IRA program. And again, I talk to parents, we talk about student loans. Again, my son, I emphasize education, education, education throughout, and he got a scholarship, and fortunately, when he graduated from school, he did not have any student loans. It was paid for. But we planned, and I heard this number, and I couldn't believe it. And again, in my sessions, only 3% of people know what a 529 plan is. Only 3% know what a 529 plan is. So, again, this is what this is about. This is about helping and educated consumers. We don't just have to do this next year in libraries. I want to see it in so many different places. I want to see it in churches. I want to see it college campuses, everywhere. Let's make Georgia a top-notch state again for Money Smart Week. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
And I will share with you that when I heard about Money Smart Week, and my mind is always working. One of the things when we thing that I thought about was, okay, we have a week of financial education in the will. How can we keep it going year round? And so we had that discussion, within that meeting, and I've had it with a couple of colleagues, since then. So I will tell you that that's something I was working on, wasn't able to do it, this past Money Smart Week because we were so busy getting, the campaign. But as soon as I get a couple of confirmations in place, there's going to be another announcement, because what I looked at is through this campaign, and then I studied the consortium and everything around, we already have the pieces. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. There doesn't need to be another financial education curriculum anywhere as far as I'm concerned. We just need, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, we just need to widen the space that enrollment. And so, when I look at the relationships that we have through Money Smart Week and then the consortium, there's no reason why we can't come together. We got the library, who can serve as schools without law. They're in every community. Trust Hubs, the CFPB's announcement was very timely because they want to use, want the libraries to be trusted hubs for financial education for people. So why can't we utilize that? We have the Financial Planners Association, Certified Financial Planners Board. They're, always ready, to go out and do something in the community. I had a lady, I attended a roundtable, I was invited to a roundtable at the FDIC. A lady there shared with me that she was in a meeting with some city employees who have pensions, but their pensions are not lasting. Well, we got financial planners. Why can't we put them together? We have the cooperative extension, a trusted source. We have the CFPB who oversees everything. We already have the pieces. United Way, and points like they're on the financial coaching part of it. We already have the pieces that we need. Can we just bring them together and get this thing done? So I hope everyone will partner with the campaign. You all have something to bring to the table. You all know people who can bring something to the table. There's no reason why we can't be at the bottom and not at the bottom. At the top and not at the bottom. Okay. I'm just so used to seeing it. I'm sick of looking at pen or an opportunity. I'm like, man, can we get up here somewhere? So before we go, we're running just a little bit ahead of time. I would like just a short introduction of who you are, what your company is, and I know the Financial Planners Association has an announcement. If you have an announcement, let's share it here, but please be very timely so we can be respectful of the center and their time. So we're going to start right here, if you don't mind.
Yes, my name is Charles Patterson with Primerica Financial Services out of Duluth, Georgia.
Matilda Richardson, Primerica.
Al Parker, I'm a speaker for an organization called Society for Financial Education, Professional Development. And I'm also a financial coach.
We already know Mr. Cheeks and Ms. Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, right, and we were actually having a tour of the Monday Zone, so if